You know the pedigree. You know the pedigree.
Welcome to VIP. I'm your host, Gregory, and today's guest is an actor, writer, producer, acting coach, a true thespian in every sense of the word. He is a creative who has graced the screen for over 3 decades. He is best known for playing Otis in the critically acclaimed television miniseries The Temptations, where he was an NAACP award nominee. But he is so multifaceted. He has been a series regular on soap operas such as One Life to Live, and most recently he's played Jules in the Tyler Perry's Netflix series Beauty in Black. He's a husband, a father of 7 beautiful kids. He's a man of faith. BK, stand up. Welcome to the show, Malik Whitfield. What's up, baby?
Thank you for having me, brother.
Now it's Charles Malik Whitfield.
It's Charles Malik Whitfield.
Okay, so how did you get this, how did you take the Charles out of it and just go straight to Malik?
Well, my incredible father was also Charles.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So growing up over the period of time, when phone calls happen or anything, and people come to the door, which Charles are you looking for? And so you mean Malik.
Oh, Malik. Okay. So distinguish between the two.
Yeah, so Malik stuck for quite some time. But you know, I love when people call me Charles just the same. So
really?
I acknowledge it. You know, it's honored to acknowledge it. And
so some people actually do call you Charles.
Some people do.
And you go by Charles. Really? I've only known you as Malik.
Most people in the industry, when you say Malik, I turn my head. Most people who don't know me use Charles. But if you grew up with me, that might be really different.
If you grew up with you, you might say Charles.
Yeah, I had a bunch of different names, AKA Charles Chuck Steak, Beefsteak.
Oh, that's how you feel. Okay. yeah. Well, take us to that. Growing up in the BX, you know, in the 70s, like explain, you know, how it was, you know, growing up.
It was interesting, you know. Growing up in the Bronx really was interesting because we had the heartbeat of all rap. Yeah. I grew up around all of the rappers and so forth.
The beginning parties, of hip-hop.
Beginning of hip-hop.
Yeah. And you were a part of all that. Explain.
Hip-hop. Breakdancing as well,
right?
But also too, it was very a depressed time in many ways because a lot of our buildings were burned down in the Bronx, so it looked like a war zone.
The crack epidemic?
Crack epidemic came towards the later 70s. Okay. We were really in a heroin epidemic. Then and into the 80s became the crack epidemic. Cocaine just continued to live its own life.
Right.
And still does.
Yeah.
But it was great growing up, you know, in the Bronx because it allowed me to jump on a train, go to Yankee Stadium, you know, have no in-betweens to finding friends because we'd venture out to different blocks.
Boroughs and blocks,
you know, our big thing was, hey, we got a group of guys, you got a group of guys, let's play stickball together, you know, and see how that goes out. So I loved the journey that it gave me, and it also gave me an appreciation that I didn't know how poor we were and how bad we had it, because if we had a mattress on the street, well then now we had something to flip on and play on and jump on. And so where people would look at a depressed place that's dilapidated, an abandoned building, well, that was our magical place to go play hide and seek and just try and make sure you don't fall down the elevator shaft.
Fire hydrants, y'all taking it, water.
All of it.
You know what I mean?
All of it.
The big music, you know what I mean? The big beatbox music.
There wasn't no such thing as central air conditioning. You know, it was like, get your face up close to that fan and thug it out. And when it's hot, everybody's outside. You know?
Everybody's outside.
Somebody can open up that hydrant, you know, the fire truck people, and the company was kind enough. Sometimes they might open up for us because it's intense.
New York in the summer is real hot.
Yeah.
So explain, did you come from a 2-family household? Was your pops involved? Were you very close with your mother? Were they working a lot? Or, you know?
Yeah, I came from a 2-family household. My mother and my father. He was phenomenal. He he was a professor at Fordham University.
Oh, really?
Yes, Mom was a teacher as well.
Okay.
Julia Richmond High School. So they were educators. And so we were pretty much would be considered a middle-class family. But the dynamics of a middle-class family really, in those times, was really a very poor family. So sometimes I envied my friends who were on welfare because they knew at what point that they were going to have new clothes and so forth. But for my parents, they worked early in the morning to late at night. And so that kind of left us to our own devices, some good, a lot not great. And also, you know, for myself and my sisters, especially my sister, very close in age, for me and her as lock-key kids, as we called them, you know, we take ourselves to school early in the morning and we're going 15 miles, 17 miles, walking them and coming back.
Right.
And while we're coming back, we got to fight everybody through every other project and scenario. So, you know, it toughened me up a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it toughened me up a lot. And we weren't sensitive, we didn't have a high sensitivity to name calling because that's what we grew up with was the dozens, you know.
We all joining every day.
And if it went too far, everybody says, well, let me see how nice your hands are. And there might have been a fight, you know, but nowadays, you know, these, you know, people are different, you know, and we got everything's tapped in different, you know, social media, the cameras and all of that, so.
What's the age gap between you and your sisters? I know you're one
I got one sister.
Oh, I thought it was two, okay.
Well, I have three total. I have three total.
Okay.
One is a lot older,
yes,
but she's so young and beautiful. She's in her late 60s.
Okay.
And then I have another sister who's just a year older than me.
Yeah, I remember
so she's like my twin.
We beat you on spades over
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We always laugh because I never play spades unless it's with my sister Charlene.
Yeah.
And when we play spades, we act a fool. Yeah. So we act a fool and then we come back and we get our lives together.
I mean, I saw how close you guys were and how she, you know, rode for you, you know what I'm saying? And she was talking crazy, and it was just a good time, you know what I mean?
Yes, indeed. Yes,
man,
indeed.
So boom.
And then I have a younger sister.
Oh, yeah.
Who I always got to pay homage to. My younger sister, Aisha. She's a fantastic.
How old is she?
Actress.
How
she's in her late 40s.
Okay.
She's a fantastic, just brilliant actress. I wish she was doing more of it. But, you know, she's taking care of other things in life and her children. So, you know, I got nothing but honor. Honor.
So you were in the streets a little bit as a young boy, you know what I mean? And you know, I don't know, somebody said that you made, you know, some pretty big money at an early age, dope boy, you know what I'm saying? You know, or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? Because they say dope boy, but back in the days we called it scrambling.
Scrambling, okay.
Yeah, just like scrambling eggs, you know. So that was a journey that I was kind of left to other devices and kind of open to a lot of people hustling at a very, very young age who were very, very kind to me. But when people idealistically think about me making a lot of money, I was rolling with a few older people
who were doing it big.
So it's not my money, it's our money.
Our money,
it's like, you know, it's almost like the collective scenario. But you know, being in that element and being around, you know, the hustling and the highs and lows of what that looks like, you know, street life, selling drugs, doing illegal things. That I also had to deal with the repercussions of losing so many friends, losing so many people, being shot at a young age. You know,
you said being shot at a young age? Being shot
at a young age.
Where were you shot?
My arm.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
and being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or
not being in the wrong place in the wrong time, just being. Just being a part of too much negativity. At some point, you know, it's like karma. It'll come back. And you may be lucky or fortunate enough to survive it. And so I was lucky enough not only to survive it, but thrive it and leave it alone. Because I had a mentor who planted a seed, who was a teacher, Marianne Larkin
That's
Reeves.
What's up. I was going to talk about that.
And she changed my life.
So how did you first meet her? She just took an
I was
interest
just young.
in you?
She didn't really take an interest in me. I was probably one of these disruptive kids in a classroom,
you know,
as many are, and sometimes maybe opinionated and vocal. But I wasn't so vocal in her class. I was just very withdrawn and didn't want to do any of the work, and I really didn't want to be bothered. And I was really going to school so I can bide my time, because there was a certain timetable that you really hustled when you sold drugs, and that was usually from 6 o'clock all the way through the morning.
Oh, so you had it down, okay.
Yeah, so it was a very different lifestyle for a young man. For me, so school was a place to be in between that time.
So were you popular in school? Were you like the, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I wouldn't say I was super popular, but I wasn't unpopular. You know, I was cool with everybody, and I went through a few schools, you know, so, like we said back in the days, people always tested you with your hands.
Trust me,
I went to one school, got kicked out of that school, went to another school, it was another fight, got kicked out of that. So it was.
You were fighting?
Yeah.
And they kicked you out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
did you have hands? I mean.
Oh yeah, extremely nice. Yes.
Left right combo. I mean.
Listen, very nice with them. I mean, growing up, you learn that if you're not nice with them,
you're gonna have a problem.
You're going to get nice with them.
Yeah.
You're going to take as good as you give. And I'm old enough now. I'm like, all I'm trying to do is trying to keep this arm in my socket. I don't want no problems with nobody.
Problems, yeah.
Somebody back in the days was so funny, because we would walk around and be like, yo, my man.
What's good?
What you looking at?
Right.
No, what you looking at?
You starting it, yeah.
It's so instant. It's so instant. Now I'm like, you tell me, hey, my man, what you looking at?
I got you.
Oh, no, excuse me, I'm sorry.
You need this space. You need this space? I don't want no problems,
no,
bro.
It's yours.
Yeah, it's your world, baby.
I don't want no problem.
Right.
So I'm thankful, that I had that teacher who introduced me to the arts, and it was being so belligerent and reluctant to follow the rules that forced me to, in order to stay in school and not get kicked out, I had to write a monologue.
Ah, okay.
And I was like, I don't know what a monologue is. What's a monologue? Like, what does that mean? So she explained it to me, telling me, you can start, just express a story that may feel connected to you and so forth. So I really guess more so than anything, I was really introduced to the arts because I had to write something that was connected
True to
me.
you, yeah.
And when I wrote the piece, it was about one of my best friends getting killed.
Damn.
And how he always had my back and how he was my partner. And what life felt like after he was gone. I always felt like he's still riding with me, but he's not there physically. And so I wrote this piece, and she said, well, great, it's cool. And she said, so next week you're gonna go to a group home on the South Bronx, and you're going to see this. No, not present yet. You're going to see your piece. And I go, all right. I go anywhere. You tell me in the Bronx, I'm in Brooklyn, I'm in Queens, I'm anywhere.
Whatever, yeah.
So I go, and one of her artists, she had a young troupe, even from people who passed their grades and they moved on.
They would come back.
She helped them
back.
get them into wonderful college in Ithaca and so forth.
Right.
So they would come back, and
so
she had this little acting troupe.
Okay.
Yeah, she had a little acting troupe.
Yeah.
And so between the students there at the present and the ones that had came through, boom, go to the group home, they're performing. This was the journey of not only just say no to drugs, but sexually being responsible, all of these different narratives, right?
Now, how old were you at this time?
I was 14.
14,
yeah.
Yeah,
14. Just turned 14.
Okay.
And Cat did my piece.
Your whole piece.
He did my piece.
You sitting there watching somebody else do your piece.
Yes.
Explain how that felt.
And I got upset.
Oh, because it wasn't him. It wasn't.
I got upset, and she was like, well, what do you think? And I was like,
it's corny.
I was like, this nigga just changed my words. I would never say this like that. like he left this little part out. What was that about? So I took so much offense to it.
Because it was so personal to you, because that's your man, right?
It was, and I was just, and I was a very, I just say what I want to say, young man at that time. I was very uncensored to a great extent. And so she said, oh, okay, great. The next week you'll do it in a group home so you can see how it's done, and you can show us how it's done. And I said, well, if he's going to do it like that, then I might as well do it. And so I had this bad good scenario that if I made a commitment, that I stuck to commitments.
Right. Where'd you get that? You think that was from your family? Was it from pops? Was it like, how'd you cultivate that? Like, why?
Well, when I think about it, I think that I made a commitment to
your boy.
No, it was a commitment to a certain feeling that I felt that I never wanted to feel like I deserted myself, and I watched people desert around me, and so so over time, I made a commitment to myself. No matter what you do,
you finish.
Follow through with what you say you're gonna do.
Okay.
And so your word and your actions are gonna have to line up.
Yeah.
And that's why I love that. I want my words and actions to line up with positivity. And if it's negative, I can't do none of that. Nope, that's not for me.
Right.
So going through that process, going to the following week and performing it, I thought I would be really nervous and uncomfortable.
So you were thinking it through beforehand, and you were getting ready for it.
Which was so easy for me to do because I wrote it, and I was literally just going back and telling the story.
Right.
And so.
How long was the monologue? A couple minutes?
A couple minutes.
Okay.
Couple minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and I've talked about how me and him used to get into fights and be back to back and fighting different.
Oh, so
cats.
you still know the monologue? You still?
I know the monologue.
Okay. Can I hear a little bit of piece of this monologue, brother?
Monologue.
You know what I mean? Your first.
You know.
Like.
And so, me and my partner.
Yeah.
Used to get in a lot of problems. But one thing about me and getting into problems, we always knew how to get out of them. Because you know what? My partner always had my back. We be in Bronx River, get in a fight. I know I look to my left. He looked to his right. We right in it. He always had my back. But one night, you know, we was hanging out. We was drinking some 40s, having a good time. Went to go get some chicken wings, French fries. You know, little $1.25, nothing light. You know what I'm saying? So while we chilling out, we realized we see these cats that we've been having problems with. So they looking at us, we looking at them, they grilling us, we grilling them. So what's up? So my man says, yo, let's step. Steps over there, what's good? Why y'all over here? What's popping? So have a little conversation. I looked at him, he looked at me. He hit him, I hit him. I mean, it's just going down, you know. It's three of them, just two of us. And the next thing I know, cat pulls out a gun and he shoots my boy. And I'm like, damn. They take off running. I'm like, they shot my best friend. And now I realize that he ain't breathing no more. And so, on certain days, even when it's sunny outside, I can still hear him like, yo, you got my left, you know I got your right. And I can still feel my partner's got my back, even though he ain't there no more. So my partner has always got my back.
Damn, son.
And so I was so thankful for that piece.
Now, was that real? Did that really happen, or is this something you just made up? That was real?
Yeah.
That was real. You were with your man when he passed.
Yeah.
They shot him when you were with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, I'm thankful for that moment because when I did that piece of the group home, there's a little Spanish kid there. And he started crying, and I was like, man, why are you crying, you know? Like, what's up? And he came to me and he said, yo, I feel like you wrote that piece for me.
Damn.
I said, what? Nah, this is my piece, this is my boy. He goes, man, I just lost my brother. I felt like you wrote that for me, and he just wouldn't stop crying. And that was the moment that I knew. And I went to Marianne, and I said, you know, what could kind of happen if I kind of like studied and, you know, maybe did this acting thing a little more, you know? And she gave me an open door to keep working. Then she said one of the funniest things too. She said, but we're gonna have to make sure we work on making you commercial. And I said, commercial? We're gonna do commercials and shit like Pepsi and shit like that? And she was like, no. She was like, it just sounds like you're from the Bronx so much. I want you to be able to get opportunities for jobs.
Everything, yeah.
That you don't sound like you specifically come from the Bronx.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. And she helped me get hooked up with Herbert Berghoff and Uta Hagen, who allowed me to
agent.
The famous teachers, coaches, actors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I trained with them for years. And she got me into Lee Strasberg, and I trained there, conservatory.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And so what I couldn't afford, they would allow me to work in the offices and so forth, or do the filing, refiling, and so forth.
So this was from 14 till...
So this was yeah, I did it for years. I did it for years. And I was always able to kind of in and out of hustling and trying to make a dollar and kind of living on my own. My parents were definitely not supporting my actions. And then there was an evolution, you know. It was an evolution for myself, not only to shed those ill choices, but also I was watching my friends, you know, take drugs, or watching people get caught up in drugs. And people can have an arrogant perspective. Damn. Why you gotta get hooked up with this heroin? Why you gotta use this crack? But I would see it so firsthand, and I would tell my boys, I said, you don't want to mess with this.
With that? Right.
And they'd come back and say, I got a little shorty, a little girl, this and it ain't about that. I said, I'm telling you, you don't want to mess with that. 5, 10 minutes later, they come back, the eyes is open.
You could tell, damn.
And they gone. 2 weeks later.
Different world.
2 weeks later, they not under 100 pounds, because they not sleeping. 3 weeks later, maybe a month, they dead. So to see that, you know, in real time and understand the repercussions. Also, I had a lot of remorse. I had so much remorse because I didn't want to be connected to watching people as beautiful as a Jennifer Lopez and such be so vibrant in life, so beautiful.
And then can take it all
and
away.
then in a month, the teeth are gone, everything's gone. They trying to sell everything and they ain't make it, you know. And so, and I had my friends that didn't make it, you know. And so, I just found so much love to pour into the arts.
The arts, yeah.
And theater. Really, I love the stage. Theater.
So theater. Tell us about like your first experience on stage. Where were you? And
well, my first experiences with doing performances is at Strasberg.
Okay.
Yeah, I was doing performances there. Agents would be there and so forth. A lot of great actors and so forth. And then
any that you know came up with it?
A lot did very well.
Okay.
I don't remember all of their names because I was in every class that I could ever be in.
Really? You just
I
wanted
would
to be a part of, like I said, a thespian in every sense of the word.
I would love to immerse myself in it. And Herbert Berghoff, I didn't think I should ever audition for anything until he kicked me out of school. You know, I remember I was doing a streetcar named Desire, and I was doing it with my scene partner, and he was a very kind of gruff older man, you know, in the sense that Herbert was, what are you doing? What was that? You came in here and you wanted to play with objects and toys and everything, and you never got to it. You never got to it, right? And he'd be like that, right? And so for me, that could seem very aggressive to a lot of people, but from the way I've grown up,
that ain't, yeah.
He was giving tough love in the class because you needed this tough love because the business was going to be tougher.
Right.
And so for some people, class was therapy. You know, it was a place for them to unload and go through their traumas and so forth. And me, I was like, I want to figure out these characters and the psychoanalytical perspective behind it and so forth, you know, and I started loving that. And I remember one day, because I think I also got invited to the Shakespeare Conservatory in Washington, but Herbert had told me while we were in class, he said, finished doing this scene, and he goes, And it's very hard to get up to go class because if you have 30 people, you may not get up that week, and you have to wait the following week, right?
Yeah,
And because he's in it with the students, right? And so He says, I don't want you to ever come back to class again. It's like, what do you mean you don't want me to come back to class? Why are you, like, you kicking me out? And he goes, everything else you need to do, you're going to learn doing it. Go out and get a job. Go and audition. And I was like, really? Sure. And so one of my earliest first plays was with Michelle Shea, my other mama, and some wonderful actors, Terry Towns, New Federal Theater, Woody King. And he recently passed away this past year. He held up the community such a bright light and nurtured so many wonderful artists along the way. So I was able to, you know, along the way, go through a lot of this cultivation along with Gregory Hines mentoring me, understanding like the Ruben Santiago Hudson's mentoring me, letting me understanding how to bring certain beats up and not drop them, and how to the importance of storytelling. You know, that was a journey also with Kenny Leon, spending time with him, doing early stage and regional stuff. So I was really, really thankful for that. And then television is its own medium, and film is its own medium. And you know, I think as a young artist, as an actor, all I wanted to do really was to have a career and be able to perform.
And that you have.
And you know what? But it's because of so many other people.
Yeah.
It's because of the countless support and beautiful people that have urged me and pushed me along the way. And when my times have been tough and they've been difficult, and I'm like beating my head up against the wall, like I can't get a job. Like I don't know what to do. And I just keep going. And it's those last moments where just right when I'm wanting to quit, somebody goes, not yet.
Keep going.
Or someone literally tells me, don't quit, keep going. I go,
yeah.
You know, and so, you know, even with this new show, I'm honored for Tyler.
Yes.
The Tyler Perry, right, to not only call me to have me contribute and be a part of the show, but my first time working with him, doing the other series, If Loving You Is Wrong, playing this amazing human being, which was great. That was therapeutic for me as well.
You're talking about
that was Lucian.
Lucian, okay, yeah.
And then coming full circle to this is it's a different dark world, right? And I'm thankful for him allowing me to be a part of his just mastery and vision. Yeah. So I mean, if not for all these other people along the way, I don't make it. And the journey is that I'm still on the journey.
Yeah.
You know.
So you didn't really get that college experience. You got, you know, you started in your early 20s acting.
Yeah, I started earlier than 20s. You know, I started earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. So
teens.
Yeah.
I saw.
So it was jumping in and out of things. No, I did this other movie, which was called Junk, which was very
Junk. That's what it is. Junk.
Very interesting. You know, about son finding his father, but his father's actually homeless, and so he would be around with mostly with his shopping cart with a lot of junk in it, and what that relationship was like for me, you know, playing a young man, and now I'm honored to play anyone's dad, father.
So you just immersed yourself into the world, you know.
I did. I see. You know, if there was an opportunity to
perform,
really anything, honestly, I really was open. I mean, if I could do modeling, I'd do it.
Yeah.
I would do the modeling shows, be doing the modeling shows with Grace Jones, all these other dynamic people. You know, okay, be at the Tunnel. You're going to be such and such. Tunnel is one of these famous clubs in New York.
Everybody knows the Tunnel, bro.
And me and myself, Mike K. Williams, rest in peace. I remember we got together. He was just getting off tour with Dana, with Latifah, and we ended up booking this whole Def Jam, which was huge, right? To have a Def Jam jacket and all of that.
Like Comedy Jam, you mean?
Def Jam Records.
Oh, Def Jam Records.
Before comedy, it was Def Jam Records.
Okay, Russell and
okay. And so we did all their billboards for them.
Really?
And everything, and we became just the greatest of friends. And so I think about so many great friends that we pay homage to, like the Malcolm Jamal Warners and the Lee Thompsons and so many others that are no longer here. That I don't take for granted the opportunity to be here, but I also understand that that baton torch must be passed on and light it up.
So you really did a lot of groundwork before you actually became, a screen name. I saw that you were on One Life to Live.
Yeah.
You were soap opera, recurring role.
Being in a soap opera star was very interesting, Get tons and tons and tons of letters to my home.
Really?
It was like, they know my home. No, they would bring it to the studio.
Okay, and then
I'd take it home, but it'd be tons and boxes and boxes and boxes. And then it would be this. Yeah, I think as a young actor, you can really get caught up in the facade that you're special.
You're it. Yeah.
And, I see these soap opera things. People would say, hey, he's the new Denzel, next one up. And I go, who wrote this? It's nice.
Yeah.
Listen, you gotta, you can't sip the tea and drink the juice that they give it. And what I loved from the stage was you're still only as good as your last performance.
Yes.
So that was always the case. And I remember Gregory would always tell me.
Gregory Hines.
Gregory Hines.
Come on, man.
He would say.
You flexing. I remember Gregory. Hines, man.
Listen, I love him so much because he would take the time to call me.
Really?
And he would I'd be out playing basketball or doing something. I'm like, I can't get a job, Gregory. I can't get a job. He'd go, Malik, relax. You're gonna get a job, okay? Just hang in there. Tell me when you're free. Come down. Come to the house. And I'd be like, all right. I'm free any day,
right.
So he'd be like, come on down Saturday. Let's talk. And I would always just honor and just appreciate the time that he would take just to call, check on me in between, and then also give me these encouraging words not to stop. And then he will also say, it was so valuable. If you're worried about what critics are going to say, then you've lost. And if you're looking for an accolade from the critic, then you've lost.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you're worried about what the critic is going to say because it's going to be negative, then you're lost. So how you continue to move is know that if you were looking to make a perfect performance, it's probably going to be your worst. Just let it be. You'll find a time, and why stage and theater became so important to me, because you wanted to be on your worst day still good, and on your great day amazing. Now the magic. I know, I'm tightening this up, fine-tuning this journey, and that becomes that synergy where you're trying to work the muscle. So even on your worst day,
you're good.
Hopefully you're good.
You're good.
But I look at so many actors, just, and you're wonderfully talented as well.
Brother, let me tell you, man, you talking about Gregory Hines and helping you. I look back, I called you about 15 years ago, and I'd just gotten back into the entertainment industry. And I don't know if you remember this, but you came to my home and helped me with an audition. You filmed it. Helped me, through the process of, diving in and understanding, who this character was and backstory. It was, looking back now, it's like, wow, Malik Whitfield actually helped me through an audition, and that's just who you are. So many people have helped you, but at the same time, you're such a blessing to others, and you've helped other people as well. And you're also an acting coach. You really love this. You know what I mean?
I do.
I was a basketball player. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who knows me knows I love to hoop. You know what I'm saying? So you I know you love basketball as well, but you're a true thespian, and you really love to give back. And I want to say thank you, man, for from the bottom of my heart, brother. You know what I'm saying? Because not too many people in this industry will go out of their way to help you.
You know, I think a lot of people will. I think it takes time for people to feel comfortable that someone wants to be held accountable.
Right.
And that takes a little bit of time.
But at this particular time, I'd only known you maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
I didn't know you that long before, you know.
Much has been given to me, and an opportunity or thought, or what do you think about this kid? Or, you know, at one point I started writing commercials for Gray Advertising, Gray Ad in New York, and I was doing voiceovers. So while I wasn't working, I was doing all these voiceovers. A buddy of mine was just like the voiceover king, Anthony Thomas. I love him, brilliant actor. We would be, we booking these auditions together. I'm like, anything to keep it going, you know? Yeah. And at that time, I had my young son at that time. So I think, you know, being a young father at that time and figuring things out, trying to keep a job, you know, because people think it's all acting. Yeah. Like, you know, I worked at the post office. So I would have been retired from the post office, which wouldn't have been a bad thing either. It was one of my favorite jobs.
At the post office? Why?
Yeah,
because you got to interact with people, or what?
Well, it was a tough job because I worked a graveyard shift.
Okay.
I worked in scanning, where we scanned the last pieces before they got on the truck. Okay. They're going to Chicago, they're going to Jersey, they're going wherever they're going, right? And I worked with this phenomenal 8 group of guys. And what was so beautiful about them is, you know, some of them, my boy Louis Figueroa, Chucky, hey Chucky, from the Bronx, Chucky, baby, Chucky, you know, and he was doing acting way in the early 70s. And I remember he did a show with him and Morgan Freeman and just all these incredible people, right? It was on PBS. And he goes, I got something for you. Got something for you, Chucky. I got something for you. I said, what you got? He was like, you're gonna do that acting thing. You're gonna do it, baby. And I'm like, all right, Lou, okay, cool. And he gave me the comedy tragedy, Little Charm. I still have it to this day. I need to give it to his son now, who's a grown man with his family. So I have to be sending it to them soon. And it was so thankful because they go, when your show is? I go, tonight. They go, get out of here, kid. Get out of here. Go to sleep. Make sure we got tickets though at the for the show. I'm bringing my lady. So every weekend I get more tickets and I just give them to them. And my parents would show up all the time, and end up doing this other play. I think it was called Asylum at Lincoln Center, and that play really got me. Well. It was gravitational greatly because it got me a bunch of agents. Where they were like, "Hey, kid, you know, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Oh man, I got an agent, right?" And but what was so beautiful about working there, and I remember because it was 1993 when I was coming to the decision: am I going to do this full time? Am I going to act? I'm over here doing 3 plays or whatever play I can get my hands on. And Mr. Sproul was his name. He's always dressed very elegantly through the night. You know, sharp gentleman.
What was he?
He might have been from Mr. Sproul. He was a supervisor.
Oh, a supervisor.
He was a supervisor.
Okay.
He might have been from Alabama somewhere.
Okay.
And he just had this southern charm about him. And he go
on the play that you were working on.
Well, no, where at the post office.
Oh, at the post office. Okay.
And so I was coming to this pivotal point where I can keep doing these plays. I keep doing the plays for $75. I got to still try and take care of my child. All of those, the counterbalance, right? And he says, Mr. Whitfield, I want you to come to my office. I need to see you. Oh my God, now I thought I was in trouble because the guys were making sure that I didn't have to show up for work, swipe my card in so I could still get paid, and then I could still do the plays. Right, and so they would help me out in that way where, you know, I mean, now nobody can do that. No. Everybody tracking somebody somewhere, right? But they blessed me with that time.
So he called you in his office?
So he calls me in his office and he goes, Mr. Whitfield. And I'm like, He goes, all the guys like you. And one guy was literally, you would think he was Richard Pryor because he looked like Richard Pryor, had a mustache, and cursed like Richard Pryor. We like Chucky. We like, it's our boy, right?
Yeah.
And so he says, I'm going to give you an opportunity. And I go, really? What is it? He goes, I'm going to give you your own route. You're going to be a mailman. You're going to have your own route. You'll work from 9. You can finish it by 11, whatever it is, and go on with your day.
Bet.
And you're going to start off at $100,000.
Okay. Yeah.
This is 1993. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I need that. Cha-ching, cut the check.
And that was the moment I had to decide, was I going to stay at the post office?
Or pursue my acting.
Or pursue acting full time.
And I'm so thankful you did.
And when I had to come back to him, I said, Mr. Spruill, I'm not going to take it. Like, I'm not. You listen, I don't know. I said, and that was a different shift now for me, because now I had to go after jobs, and not only that,
you had to.
I literally started asking people, I'm gonna need some money now.
Okay.
Because if I turn this down,
and you got a son.
Now I gotta make it count.
You got a son.
Yeah. So, and then, even in those times, it was like you could do Law and Order. I did it quite a few times. You can only do it so many times. I'm like, somebody got a purse to steal? What? Tell me where it's at. What am I gonna do? Right? So.
Well, I mean, but you said that so matter of fact. You work with Dick Wolf, and you were part of the Wolf Pack, and you just lie how many times, brother. That is amazing, man. You know how many people love Law and Order, and you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, woo! And you were a part of, the beginning process. You know what I mean?
I'm just so
You've done so many things over your life, and it's just, you got to look back and say, you know what, man, I'm accomplished. You know what I mean? Like, even though. I'm talking about from the outside looking in, as me personally looking at your life. You're so accomplished. You've done so many things, and I'm so, just honored to even be in your presence, because you take it serious. You know what I'm saying? And
you know what? I do, but I'm also the biggest jokester. People don't know. I like to not take life seriously. I'd like to take the work seriously.
Yeah.
I take that professional journey seriously, but I try and I try and be easy as much as I can.
Yeah, you're even keel. I get it.
I try to, I think
very humble.
I think what was very humbling for me was in 2003, I had a bad motorcycle accident. I used to love riding bikes. This right here? This right here.
That's it.
That's right here, we had 80. Right here, we had 100. So, like riding bikes, went down on my bike.
Here? Now, how'd you move from New York to LA?
How'd I move from? I was coming back and forth from New York to LA early 90s.
Okay.
I found myself screen testing for movies.
Different movies and things like that. So you
I was like,
back and forth. Okay.
I was like, what am I doing here with Larry Fishburne? It was really interesting. And so I would come back and forth, and I had a dear friend, GQ, Jerry Quigley, and he said, my couch is always yours. My couch is always yours. And I was going through a rough time, and this is how I got to California. I was going through a rough time, emotionally, mentally, everything. And it was a very cold winter. And I felt like I was going to slip back into bad habits. Slip back into bad habits with taking care of my son. There's no work. I don't have finances. And I was like, I think I'm going to end up back in jail. I'm going to die.
Really?
That's exactly the emotional place that I was at that time.
Okay.
And so I went to Mary Ann and I said, I don't want to disappoint you.
That's your old acting coach, right?
Yeah. I said, you've poured so much into me. You've helped me so much. You've guided me so much.
Wow.
I feel like I'm not going to make it.
I'm drowning.
And she said, maybe you need to go to California. And I said, well, my boy lives out there. He says, I can stay, at his couch. And I called him, and he says, come, just come. And I was like, but I don't got no money to get on a flight. She was like, you're going tomorrow. She booked my flight, and I was in California the next day. Called up my agent. I only had a couple dollars to my name. I had nothing to my name. And so the minute I got here on a Friday, or it'd be Saturday morning, got here Saturday. Agent called, and I was with agency at the time, Paradigm, They called. They used to be STE. I was with them with STE, the Paradigm, the whatever, a long time ago, right? And they said, you have an audition. It's in Century City.
Okay.
And I was like,
and this was Saturday.
This was Saturday.
Okay. Right when you
So
get in,
I said, man, I gotta go get this fax, because then you were getting fax.
Yeah.
We were getting fax. There weren't no emails. We were getting fax. And I said, okay, I gotta make it to Century City. My buddy was working, doing stuff. He goes, yeah, you just go down La Brea, get on the bus, but then you gotta take another bus. I didn't realize how hard the bus system was out here.
Yeah, it ain't no joke out here, yeah.
So I said, okay, cool, that's what I'm gonna do. So I walked in this room, and the show was Barefoot in Paradise. Never aired. Went to ABC, Century City. And
it was a pilot?
It was a pilot.
Okay.
It was a pilot.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm trying to think of his name right now. Oh, Zalman King. He was very famous for like these kind of like soft, erotic, kind of sexy things. Wild Orchid, 9.5 Weeks, Boca, all this stuff. And so I went in and Stu Sheslow, his partner at the time, very sweet man. I read, and he goes, okay, we're done. This is your show. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, this is your show. We don't want you to take any more meetings, anything. We're going to close the deal in the next couple of days.
So this is Saturday you come in. This is Monday that you have the audition.
This is Monday.
Wow.
And so he says, but we
talk about a story.
We still got to take you through network. Now let me tell you this part that most people don't know.
Who does that?
I went there, so I'm still got a couple of dollars. I leave there and I'd cry. I'm crying because, right?
Huge.
What time can do, what support can look like.
What?
I was feeling hopeless.
Just
48 hours
ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And worried about that I'm gonna either go to jail, kill myself, or not make it. Like these are the extremes. And I'm like, hold on. And I walked out of there and I just cried. I cried. I got back on the bus and I was like, oh. Then I really don't want to take this bus because it really stinks too. Then I got back all the way to G's crib and I told him and I said, this is unreal. And then my nerves kicked in like, what is going on? They offered me a great amount of money for this pilot. I was originally supposed to do it with Emilio Estevez.
Ooh.
He ended up dropping out. My other boy, Hamilton Von Watts, who did it, fantastic, amazing human being and great actor. We ended up doing it, shooting it in Florida. But the funniest part is, right, you have to go still network.
Yeah, you got to go.
Because they want to do the final sign-off.
Yeah.
They were, thank God, they were dug in.
Okay.
They were dug in that it was me. And then I went in, and it was really between myself and one other person, but the network really loved, and it's my buddy, Henry Simmons. Phenomenal actor. And I was in there just messing up. I'm not gonna lie, I was in there like, oh, they was like, Malik, relax. You just got, I was like, I don't know, I mean, I feel like, why is all these people here, you know?
Nerves.
It was my nerves, you know, of course, you know, and all the people there. And I was so thankful.
So you booked it?
I ended up booking, but I was also so thankful for the reprieve that it gave me towards, you know, taking care of things and my second son and being a young man. And it gave me a different clarity, you know, and I would never take anyone for granted in that time, but it also allowed me to, because this was before the Temptations, it allowed me to.
Did it give you a certain sense of gratification or relief to actually, you know, come out here and book something at such an early stage? I mean, was it?
No.
No?
It was survival.
Survival.
I was just thankful to survive. It was survival. And I was so thankful for that survival.
These checks, and you know.
Yeah, but you know, what comes today is gone tomorrow. And you know, and we don't realize that so many things are temporal, you know. And so I remember getting the Temptations. And the Temptations journey was a really interesting process because originally, after doing the pilot did not go, but I was thankful for the money. thankful to pay a bill. Pay bills up. If you're an actor, pay your bills up. If you can pay up front.
Yeah. Because you don't know. It's so fickle.
You don't know that those next 2-3 months they get tight.
Yeah, it can.
You know, so I remember going through that process and then meeting with Peter Kerr was his name, phenomenal director, English director, and so they were going to do New Jack City 2. Wesley didn't want to do it.
Okay.
But the studio wanted all the other names that could be attached, from Ice Cube, to whatever it could be.
Yeah.
And he wrote the piece, and it was really, really good. And so I was his choice to play Wesley's role in New Jack City 2, which is a very interesting story. I won't say the story. And so the studio at the time said, absolutely not. We need a name. He's not a name. We won't put this X amount of money behind it. I think it was 20 million at the time. And so Peter said, let him screen test against everyone. And so I was like, cool. And it was still, you know, of course, New Jack City and that wheelhouse is my wheelhouse, right?
Yeah, that's all day, yeah.
So I went and screen test, and I had a field day, you know, just remix and stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
And studio came back. They waited 2 weeks. It might be the best one. It might be. But we're still not going to invest making him a star.
Okay.
And those were the words, and I respected it. And so what I did not know is that screen test is what actually got me the offer for The Temptations. So I didn't get the job, and the movie didn't happen, right?
But you eventually...
And it opened up opportunities for people to see me, but you know, and I remember Susan DePass saying, she goes, but I don't understand how this kid could be the right person to play Otis Williams, because in this thing, he's killing people, right? And you know, he's like, I don't want that person near me. And I remember Jackie Brown Carmen, her beautiful self, she goes, you have to meet Malik. Just meet him. Like, this is, you just sit down with him. And so they flew me out to California. I sat down with them and we hung out. And she was like, oh my God, you are Otis. And I was like, I can't be Otis. And that was another thing. I was like, I can't be Otis. I can't sing. You need singers. I was like, but you need singers. You know, like
Otis was the man.
Like, I'm like, I can hold a little bit of a note, but you want singers, you know? So I was really not for it. I didn't, you know, and Leon, who were great friends, he was originally, he was supposed to be Otis, but he knew he wanted to play David.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
You know? And so he was just so phenomenal, but everyone was so dynamic in it.
Everyone.
You know,
the miniseries, that was
our director was just brilliant. You know, so so it was a wonderful journey and opportunity. And I remember while we were shooting, we were probably halfway there. And I remember one of my songs I just could not stand that much was Cloud 9. Be what you wanna be, Cloud 9, right? And I'm like, whatever, it's kind of a whatever song, but I've learned all these dance moves, recorded all these songs night and day. And we go out there and we're in this theater, and I mean, it's packed. There's like 5,000 extras, I don't know.
Really? Okay.
When we hit that Cloud 9, it became my favorite song. It became electric. And it was in that moment, though, I told all the guys in the cast, I said,
did that bring you back to the theater right there? The stage? When you were on stage in front of 5,000 people?
Did and different, because I attack film and television and stage differently, right? Because you know, it doesn't have a continuous flow and it can be very disconnected.
Yeah.
So you need to be where you need to be.
Right.
And try and map out as much as possible, and then you also be open to pivot and be malleable to change, right?
Okay.
And so, but I remember getting the guys together and I said, guys, I don't think that any of the guys in the Temptations ever would know that their stories and their lives were going to be so important, and we're here saying it and we're performing. So just let's not lose the fact that we've spent this time together. We may never have it again. But we're so honored to be here right this moment.
Yeah.
And that was it, you know. And I'm so thankful for it because, you know.
That was a masterpiece, brother.
And because the challenges of our industry is you really don't see, you know, 5, 6, 7 men as lead that are African American. You know, so not that other things haven't come up and evolved. I mean, we see what Ryan Coogler's done with the cast, and we see clearly what Tyler's done with having these African American cast that you were so dynamic.
One of the pioneers of, you know, young African Americans that came up, you know, as others, but
no, because I think of the Ozzie Davises, and I think of all of the other, you know, I think of our greats.
Fair enough. But
because there's so many.
You're great in your own right. You know what I'm saying?
I thank you.
Yeah. When did you start playing poker? When, you know, because that's actually where you and I met. I met you at a casino, and I don't know if it was just you just kicking your feet, you know, wanted to relax, and you know, but I would see you there with
my wife,
with your wife. Yeah.
Yeah. So the late great Steve Smith, my boy, also became my manager. We would go to Jamaica.
Jamaica, okay.
Every year, myself and my wife, we would go to Jamaica, and we would stay out there for about 3 weeks or so. And so I had a big curiosity of diving and so forth, so I went and got my license. And so, you know, you end up getting paired up
with people,
with someone, and my diving partner became a very good friend of mine, and every year we would meet back up and dive and go for new certifications together, right?
Like 100 feet, 200 feet?
Yeah, we would go deep dive.
Yeah,
we're going deep dive.
Trust me, I've done it. I've gotten 1 or 2 or somewhere in between.
Yeah, I've had some sketchy dives.
Yeah. So.
But one of the days, and it had to be the 3rd year in, we always have so much fun, and there's nothing better than being in an all-inclusive place, because then you at least know that you're not out of pocket, right? Yeah. And I go, Peter, I never asked you what you do. And he said, oh, I own a Whole Foods. And I was like, that's random, like what? Come on, man. Like, how does that happen? Yeah. It was like, yeah, I actually own 2. And I was like.
Out here in LA?
In Seattle.
In Seattle, okay.
And I said, how does someone own a Whole Foods? So I leaned in, I was very curious. He was like, I made my money playing poker. And I was like, poker? I like playing poker. I would always play it, you know, casually with my friends, but like, what's that about? And me and my wife would sit there and just go, and he goes, well, let me tell you about variables, and let me tell you this. And they were like, you know, tomorrow afternoon, and when we finish diving, let's show us. And so he'd show us, and I was like, I think that makes sense to me.
So you and your wife learned poker together?
On the next level with him, yes.
Okay.
On vacation.
On vacation.
And so he goes, you know, there's a lot of great poker places to go play, Commerce and blah, blah, there's tons of room, right? And he goes, but don't start off with anything crazy, just go to a $40 table, just $40.
This was after the boom? This was, you know, what, 2008-ish, 2002? So this was after Moneymaker or whatever, right? Well, you weren't watching it on TV?
I wasn't watching it on TV.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Okay.
And so sometimes our date nights would be going to go hang out with playing poker and not be running around with the kids. So we would just be sitting there, and it would be like no harm, no foul, $40, right?
Yeah.
And so I would sit there and realize that we'd be sitting there. I'm like, you know, we sat here 7 hours, I think 8 hours. We've been in here for a while.
That's one thing about
right?
you. You're a grinder.
Yeah, I'm considered a grinder.
You play for long stretches.
I am. You know what? But what I started to relate me playing poker longer, I related it back to acting.
Okay.
Because I had to be patient. I had to wait for the moment. I had to escape turbulence. I couldn't force something, and I realized, and Peter said really interesting to me. He said, Malik, you're gonna have to realize though when you go play poker that you can never bluff. And I go, what? Why can I not bluff? Isn't that part of the game?
Because of who you are?
And he said, not because of who you are, And he just said it straight up. He says, because you're black.
Because you're black, yeah.
And people are
That's a real truth.
It's it's a
call your ass because you're black.
Nigga for it too. I don't know what. And I told him, I said
$1,000.
Yeah, I told him.
Call you with 7.6.
I told him ridiculous. No one would do that. He goes, no, you're going to make a lot of money, but just make sure you have it. And I go, really?
Yeah.
And then I'd call him back. I was like, oh my God, you're so right. I had $40. All of a sudden I got $700. I'm like, why would you call me? Yeah. And it's still the same to this day.
So you were a natural when you started. So you started winning when you first started.
Yeah, yes, and yes, yeah, well, yes, early on. Yeah, because, you know, and then he would tell me, well, move up the stakes a little bit. And he said, and then he said, and it's all, he says, and he literally said, and I'm gonna apply it to acting.
Okay.
Now at somebody's table, they're gonna see what's your threshold. Has he lost his last money? Is he afraid of losing money?
You're not afraid of that.
And now it's going to tell you a story. And then it started telling me stories about the people playing poker.
Yeah.
And the way in which they approached it. And so sometimes I'd have to approach a role in that manner. Like, you know what I'm saying? You do like they say, like Kenny Rogers, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. You know, keep those aces close to your vest.
Yeah.
You know, but more importantly, Peter would say, take down the small ones. You don't have to wait to take the big ones down.
A whole bunch of them small ones add up over time, right?
and I think it's indicative to life, to acting. It's not about the big thing. It's not about, oh my God, you made the big hit, the big show. Those are listen, they have its own.
Place.
You know, you ride it, right?
But the longevity.
But little things will tell you a lot, even in relationship.
So that's what drew you to the game. He did, but what has kept you in the game? Because
what kept me in the game too is, you know, I never had to lie to my wife and be like, well, I'm out playing poker. She'd be like, you should go play poker, go hang out, go relax, you know. Or if I go to New York and I'm hanging out with buddies back in the days, and be like, I'm like, these guys are playing this 2 in the afternoon. Like, who does this? And then I'm like, oh, I guess me too, because I'm in here.
Yeah.
Right? And so it created a different level of trust in my marriage because she was comfortable wherever I was. And sometimes she would call and wake up and be like, so what you doing? How you doing? Okay, when you coming home? I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. And then we go together. But she's a better poker player than me.
She'll sit behind you. She'll play.
Yeah.
Sometimes
she's better than, I'd say she's better than me. I think, you know, I'm more of a wild card, depending upon how aggressive I want to be.
But at the same time,
depending upon my read,
5,000, 10,000. I mean, what's your biggest spot that you've ever won?
I don't think I would ever want to say that.
You don't ever want to say that? Okay, what's the biggest spot you've lost? Oh, you played big, or have you played home games that were big? Or
I played home games.
Okay.
I played a big game once.
One time. So it's more just.
No, not once. It's not true. I played a big. I'll tell you a funny story.
Okay.
This is a really funny story.
Right.
This is probably a belligerent poker story. The poker degenerates.
Hey,
right. So I was at the casino, right? And we were playing, and there was an uncapped game. Uncapped game, for people who don't know, means that there's no limit. Somebody might have $100,000 or $200,000.
Real talk, yeah.
And so
this is no limit.
No limit.
Okay.
I was in the mood. And me playing poker sober is great. Me playing poker drinking is a different person.
So sometimes you get a little drink at the table.
Well, not really. Not anymore. But back then, I was like, Hennessy. You know, I was dark. That dark can't touch me. I'm sorry. I'm losing 3 days of my life.
Yeah.
So I'm in there and I'm drinking. And I'm like, man, I just lost a bad hand. And this guy called me. I just lost another bad hand. My wife's like, let's just go. And I'm just like, I got $300 left. Well, I want to see what I do with this over here. That's how foolish this was. I tell the Florida guy, sit me there. I want to be there. They got all the chips. He goes, you can't come in here. You have to have $2,500 and up. It's uncapped. And I go, I get $300. And he was like, and the table looked at me and were like, oh, this is special, right? Special. It said, let him sit. I mean, he's got $300. Let him sit.
Okay.
I pushed all in maybe 8 times in a row.
You kept on, boop, boop, boop.
My wife was like, I'm tired. I need to go to work. You need to cut it out. We need to leave. And I was like, just let me finish.
Yeah.
She left for an hour. She came back.
Yeah, like
I had $17,000. But the story doesn't end there.
Okay.
So I had about
You didn't leave with it? Oh, damn.
I was drinking Hennessy.
You got off that
dog.
You
and my wife walked in. I'm like, she said, well, damn, baby. I said, I'm killing
Now you feeling it.
I'm killing them.
317 racks.
Oh, dude.
Woo! That's a
So I said, this the last hand since you done hit me. Now she brought me back into reality. I have a king queen suited spades.
most overrated hand in poker. King queen. Go ahead.
I said, yeah, it is. So I said, I must see this hand.
Yeah, king queen.
And I was dug in like a belligerent child.
Okay, what happened?
It's like they call 200, the other person raises it to 900, other person pops it up to 2,000, comes back to me, I go, I'm going to see this hand.
Yeah.
I call it
Boom,
2,000.
two racks.
2,000.
Were you in position? Were you, so you don't remember? Okay.
I was the button.
So you're out of position.
I was out of position. I was out of position.
You were a small blind or something like that. You called 2 racks. So I'm feeling myself. I got 17,000. I'm good. Let's go.
So you're talking about a whole table, right?
Yeah.
They're loaded.
King, queen.
Call, comes back to the last guy, raises it 4,000.
So now it's 6,000.
Yeah, so it's 6,000 now.
Okay.
So I'm
17.
like, yeah.
You like?
So I'm like,
I already put 2 in.
You hear me? I said, I'm going to see this hand. Call. Now 8 times 6, do the number. They all called the entire table.
Yeah, 48. Yeah.
Queen comes out. A 3 comes out. A deuce comes out.
Rainbow.
To me, act. And so I'm thinking of what Peter said. Peter told me, push it all in. Peter said, push it all in. Push it all in, Malik. I said, check. Let's see what they do. I didn't push it all in.
So you were first to act. You checked the 6 other 5 or 6 other calls. Action table. I've been there.
Yes.
Keep going.
And this is how I became so tiny. I never played those games again. And so, boom, 5,000. Well, no, it was 30-something hundred. Somebody called out, right?
Okay.
Through 3,500. Came back to the other person, and he raised it to 7. And I remember because it was an Asian lady, and she just kept pushing money. And she was like, 20,000.
Now, mind you, you had 17, you were already in for 6, you got 11 left. That ain't nothing.
I want to say, no, I'm saying it wrong because I actually ended up with 7 left because I ended up calling like the 3.
Okay.
And somebody, right before it was supposed to call, he repopped it back up to 7. She went over the top to 20.
Okay.
And it literally became just them 2. And I sat there for the longest time, and my wife was.
You thought about it.
She's just, and he said, in poker, if you count the money, you've lost. It's a rule, right? If you count the money, you've lost, and you should get up immediately. But if you're going to play, no matter what the stakes is, you better use them like Monopoly chips, right?
You got to, yeah.
And I was like, hold on, all this money.
You got to disassociate yourself with the money.
But what I didn't realize was I was still theoretically supposed to push all in no matter what. Why? Because I came in with $300.
Okay.
And the win ratio was just so ridiculous.
Still,
right?
You ran that up.
I know.
With that money. So
right.
keep going. So what happened?
So I waited there. They waited about 6 minutes. I couldn't make a decision.
They called the clock on
I started sweating. I was very sober then. And I said, well, live to fight another day. At least you'd made this. So I don't even know how you made this. Because I was being so reckless.
You folded.
So I folded.
Oh, so you left. So you had 7,000. You folded.
Yeah, I folded. So I took the last of that money, and I never liked playing in.
Wait, would you have won or would you have lost?
Let me tell you, the turn comes. It's a king. Oh my God.
Oh.
he checks. Lady says, I'm all in. She had about $30,000 more or whatever. He had about 12 left. I'm all in. This is
big game.
A big game. I don't even know, right? That's why they're laughing at me. Hey, kid, you can't come over here. Kid, what are you doing?
Come on.
So he goes, you know what? And he looks at me. He goes, if you would have called it, I would have left. But you know what? Since it's her, it was like as if people were fighting. It was like, since it's her, I'm calling it. And he threw his cards down. He had pocket sixes.
Set?
Nope.
Oh.
She turned her cards over. She had a pair of fours.
What?
I was like,
on a queen what?
It was a queen deuce 3.
Queen deuce 3.
I think a 9 came out. Once king came out and the 9 came in the river. So it was just like, I was like, once the king came, I would have been like, you got to show me a set art.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not
then I'm thinking, because when it went so hard, I was like, does she have kings?
So you could have really run $300 to about 30 or 40 if you won that. If you would have.
Yeah, it was more than that, about 50 something.
Oh, 50?
Yeah, because it was.
because 7 years.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah, about 50.
It's okay.
That's all right. You still walked away with money.
Yeah, but then I also realized that I didn't like playing the big games because then for me it was like, that's gambling. It's no longer playing, and then at the end of the day, the kids do need food. Yeah. And we like them responsibilities. I don't play with those responsibilities, right. So I'm just like.
You stay in your lane.
Stay in my lane.
You have fun.
Stay in my lane. I'm like, I like the idea and the concept of it because it teaches me a lot, and even the patience. And so that's why there's certain games like they have PLO. I see people go up and down. I'm like, I'm not interested.
The variance, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
High variance
I'm not.
game.
Yeah, no. I like friendly games with friends if they want to play or whatnot, but. Listen,
do you have like a weekly game or monthly game that you may play with friends?
Sometimes there's a monthly game. I might play with some exec friends.
Okay.
And
for the camaraderie.
It is. It's like hang out, eat a little bit of food, catch up, talk. I mean, we're talking. We're not talking no big money. We're
right.
talking like if we lost $200, you're just like
okay, yeah,
great. You know what? Because we just contributed really to the dinner.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
One thing I want to talk to you about, so many black men get stereotyped and looked down upon as for not being good fathers. You have 7 children. And when I tell you...
And blended family as well, because I don't discount any of my children.
One thing that I do know about you, you're very family oriented. You're always around your children. Your daughter, is a basketball star, going, taking her, and that's something that people don't know about you. And I'm so, honored to be, hear some of these stories because you pour into me. I have 2 young children, and you kind of mentor me, you know what I mean, and try to help me along the road, because I love my kids and you love your kids. You know what I mean? Yes. Talk about your kids a little bit and tell me, your relationships and, kind of maybe.
I was a young father, so I think my older kids had it the toughest.
Okay.
Because as a young father, all I knew was suck it up. Come on, let's keep going. Because I'm really trying to not pull the 911 emergency button, and I'm hoping that we can make it to the next month. And what do I need to do? Every minute you make it to the next month, that 30-day clock is back on you again,
quick.
Right? And so, I got to tell my oldest, CJ, Charles Jonathan, I told him, I apologize to you, because the kids would come around and they'd be like, the younger ones, they're like, man, they sure get away with a lot. And I'm like, yeah, kind of. Because as a young father, when kids are in the house and playing around, you knock down a wonderful painting or knock down a statue or something you like, you're like, what are you doing? Why are you playing in here? Was that necessary? And that was me as a young father being reactive. And then I'm like, it's broken. It's done. But the effects of how I maneuver with all of my kids over, has been the evolution, because, they'd be like, okay, and this one, I don't know, somebody else hit the car. I'm like, whatever. because it's done.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't harp on those things, and I just try and give them that space and that grace. And I just always tell them, number one thing, just be truthful. We'll figure everything else out, but don't combine it with a lie on top of a lie.
Yeah.
It's going to be more easy for you to deal with the truth. And my mom always said, for me as a man, don't try and avoid what's coming. Don't try and go left, try and go right, because you might make the blow worse, right? And so in that process of fatherhood, I've had those difficult moments. I've had those scenarios, you know, where it's like, you know, uncomfortable relationships, or are you dealing with a baby mama, you know, and sometimes people want to be a baby mama, you know, and it's but that has nothing to do with the children.
In the relationship.
And sometimes children can be weaponized in such a way, and sometimes they can also be the bind that holds everything together. You know, so I love my kids so much, but I also, as a father, it's also interesting watching them go off
and do their own thing
and living their new lives and their foundation. So when we come back, you know, I probably linger looking at them longer. So when I ask, you know, they're like, all right, I'll see you later. And I'm like, I'm holding you a bit, that much more. And I just appreciate it, and, you know, so much. And I think that when we speak of family and we speak of grandma, and I'm fortunate, right? My dad transitioned some years ago, and he's just instilled so many wonderful qualities
in you.
And when I look back, even if we had a disagreement or we didn't agree upon something, one thing was for sure, is that he was standing right by my side.
By your side, right.
Tough times, not tough times.
And that's one thing about you. You're standing by your mother's side. You fly out to see your mother.
Yes.
You know, she's had cancer and you know, for a few years now.
Well, she's been great. She had a heart issue scenario. She had a heart issue scenario, but she's doing great. You know, we looking to celebrate her 94th coming up.
Wow.
She's an anchor and a spiritual balance for our entire family, honestly. And
she's
so
a willer.
Yeah. Oh man, listen.
Yeah.
You know, as much as when I was younger, you know, you think you want to be upset about something, she's like, forgive, let it go. And you realize that
was she a spiritual woman?
She's a very spiritual woman. You know, my mom is taking names. If you're in her presence, she's taking your name so she can pray for you.
Really? Oh, so she...
And her list.
Did you grow up in the church and everything?
Well, my mom is a Buddhist.
A Buddhist.
So I've grew up in a church. I've been in a mosque. I've been in all kind of different fractions of faith.
Faith, yes.
You know, and so indicatively, what I love is that the cohesiveness of together.
Yeah.
That's what she's always done. You know, from all her family members, friends, our families in Philly. You know, a lot of reverence in the family side over there. And so I'm just so thankful that, you know, she's always pouring back in.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And sometimes, like you say, I need to see you. And people, you know, when people say, I need to see you, I need to see you. Like, what does that mean? And then when you get older and as a father and as a parent, you go, oh no.
See you, yeah.
Oh, I need to see you.
That means, speaks volumes right there.
Oh, okay, you're doing all right. Okay. Because you have to have that check-in. Friends have to have that check-in.
Yeah.
Loved ones have to have that check-in. Well, we love each other and we're doing all of that things, but what's really going on today, right? And so you know, even with my buddy who passed away, Steve-O, was so great. I got to learn, and I remember I was putting my head down. I was very devastated the way in which he transitioned, and it was so funny because we were supposed to go to a meeting together, and it was the first time he never picked his phone up. And so I was like, yo, Steve, what's going on? What's up? And I was like, you know what? If you're taking a nap, this is great because you never not answer your phone. He's like one of those people, never. And so I ended up finding out an hour or so later that he had a stroke and he passed, right? But if I could say anything to people out there in the world is sometimes, no matter how intelligent we are, how accomplished we are scholastically, sometimes you have to stay out of your head and just stay in your heart. Mm. Mm-hmm. And along with the journey of finding your passion and purpose and sticking with this, whatever it is, sometimes you got to stay out of your head and stay in your heart.
Mm. Okay.
And if you're in deep water, don't try and save yourself. Just get to a safe place and wait. If you're going through a grieving process, don't start your immediate grieving. You're not at a safe place yet. Mm-hmm. You have to give it time and distance. Plan a time for you now to sit down and grieve. Mm. And so those were some of the lessons that I learned from Marianne Larkin, from Steve-O, from Gregory Hines, even as he went through his illness. He never not stopped showing up for so many people, finding a way to light the room up with his smile, and also not even sharing that he was carrying so much other weight.
Weight, yeah.
Right?
And that's one thing about you. You carry a lot of weight, but you don't show it, you know? And you're a man of integrity, somebody who, I can count on and call on, just like how you say your friend doesn't, always answer the phone. Mm. I know one thing for sure, two things for certain. If I hit Malik is going to hit me back. You know what I mean? And I appreciate that because it just shows your character, and you are a man of character and, just somebody that I admire. And I kind of look at you as an older brother type deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't say that lightly, but, a lot of people say, oh, my big bro. No, man, but you are like a mentor type, older friend that you know what I mean, that I look up to, man.
I thank you, and I appreciate it, Yeah. I appreciate it. I don't take it for granted, and I think, that's what we want to do. We want to reflect light. Mm-hmm. You have so much light, so much joy, and at the end of the day, it's like, we live in a world when we want to disconnect. We still live in a world with so much other noise going on. Mm-hmm. And there's so many people that need help, resources, healing. Like, I couldn't understand, as people would tell me early on in my career, find out what your thing, what drives you, so you purpose. I'm like, going to the club. What are you talking about? I'm like, I'm trying to have a good time. There's a party over there.
You already know.
Right? And then you get a little older and you're just like, oh, I didn't understand that. Mm. How can we be of service to other people? Mm-hmm. And how can we also remove our ego outside of the way so we can also receive and give? It doesn't have to be a one-way thing, but also humbly receive. And I humbly receive, you acknowledging me, and I say thank you.
No, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Because you don't have to, you really care about people, you care about the craft, you care about, somebody who shows up and,
And I think, it also goes back to, my mom, my dad, but it also, was a mentor, Marianne Larkin Reeves, which I was so thankful for. One of the things that really bothered me with her, because she would take me to, come see this play, come see this Broadway play, come see this show, look at that guy's a powerhouse. Look at Brian Gumble, study him, understand who's on TV, right? So she would give me all these different aspects of access and viewpoints. And one thing that I was always upset with her is she never let me take her out to dinner. She never let me pay the bill. She treated me as her child. Mm. And so there's so much more that I have to do for so many other people. Mm. And it wasn't, that flight that she gave me was a lifeline. Mm-hmm. It wasn't about getting the show.
But you made her
It was about the
proud.
opportunity just to even embrace the sunshine. And,
but she saw something in you and you created, you lived up to that, you know what I mean?
I don't know if I've lived up to it.
You really did,
because I have that mentality. I probably do, and I probably try and keep my head down and try and keep going up the mountain. But I know that once I get there, then what's next? I want to keep.
You don't
going.
ever look backward. I understand that. But you're very accomplished and achieved, and you know, you have so much more to offer, but I'm just saying, you know, sometimes we need to look back in that rearview mirror and say, you know what, man, I've done a few things, you know what I'm saying?
Things. I'm looking to do more, you know. I'm like, I still feel like a baby in so many aspects, you know, going behind the camera, on this directing journey, all of that. So, you know, it's like I'm still a baby. It's you know, and that's why I say
it's evolving.
Yes, evolving. You know, and I'm like a dear friend of mine say, I'm just praying that I never reach my peak, but I'm always so close to it. So I can be reaching. I want to be reaching. I don't want to grab it because I don't want to stop. You know, and so it's journey. Like, you know, it's like you can go to a poker table, and that's why I say even when those bigger games come up, they're not necessarily better than anyone, but they have enough information that in an instant they can tell you haven't been here, right? And so I think in this life, experience, right? This life is about our experience, and money can't buy you class. And good people always win. You know, because they say the good guys finish last.
That's not true.
The good guys don't finish last.
That's right. That's right.
They don't.
The cream rises to the top.
They don't.
Right.
You know, because when you hear that word, it forces younger people to think that they're going to take a shortcut. Or they're going to, you know, use somebody else's shoulders to step on, you know, and they don't realize that pendulum swings back and forth. So as sharp as you think you're throwing that axe, be careful for when it comes back. It's a guillotine, you know? And so that's why I'm just so thankful that people have given me so much love or even thought about me, you know, for a project. Many times I'm like, you know, man, I could be better in this, I could be better in that. And I think that over time has allowed me to be more present, not only with my kids have allowed me to be present as an actor, but time has also allowed me to be more present and focused in what I will do and what I won't do.
Intentional,
Yeah, you know, and I'm grateful for that. And also, you know, just be around good people. I pray to be in a room full of good people.
Yeah. Well, Malik, man, you have so many gems. I appreciate you. Is there something that you can leave to, like, you know, a young artist coming up that may, you know, look to you for, you know, guidance? What would you tell that young Malik, you know, who is 14 years old now?
I would tell young and old, it's never too late. You know, what we're trying to do, and I'm praying that we want to see us change the poison into medicine. And so if you've made bad choices, and I made some foolish young ones when I was a young kid, and then I was so thankful that I had my life extended so I could even have the option to see what that looks like. And so be mindful of how you love yourself. Be mindful of how you appreciate yourself. If you are upset and you are depressed, I want you to look in the mirror and say 100 times, I'm so depressed. I'm so unhappy. And after 100 times or so, you're probably going to realize that it feels foolish. We're done with that. Throw it away, move on. Now go to where you are and get comfortable watching yourself in the mirror, loving yourself, smiling about yourself.
I'm the man.
Come on.
Yeah, I love myself.
You know, and we have, and our women are so beautiful, so powerful, right? And they can't be that without great men as well. We need each other to support each other in every sphere of business. Don't matter what business you want, what scenario you want to go. But if you're going to do it, if you can do it with love, you're going to realize
it's going to come back.
It's going to come easy.
Yeah.
And if you do it with love, it's going to come easy.
Yeah.
It's one of the main things in boxing, right? Everybody likes the speed bag. If you try to master the speed bag, it'll be the hardest thing ever. But if you just hit, tap, little bit of love, lot of love, you start catching the rhythm and start dancing, and all of a sudden you realize that you're doing certain things, and a workout's not a workout, it's just a love out. And then when you're working, you get to pour some more love out. And then when I work with other people in film sets, I'm not intimidated if there's 1 million people there.
Yeah.
I just came to have a good time with some good people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man.
So that's it.
Gems, blessings. How can people, keep up with you on Instagram?
I'm on Instagram, Malik Whitfield. Many times I know people hit me a lot. I'm not the strongest social media person.
I'm not either. I'm trying to get better.
And sometimes I might put up a class here and there. I haven't done it, but I've been working with a lot of my older students for quite some time. Definitely going to reopen that up a little bit for some people.
Okay.
I could, just because I want them to have the opportunity, and I think that, when I think about it, is like, my journey is to pass it on, and ain't to hold it. And so whatever information that I can be resourceful with, I want to give it. I want to give that up because I think that for every young person out there and whatever they want to do, music, this, that, and the other.
That's support.
Also, when you're thinking about starting your business and starting your career, also just think about how you want to walk away. So I think about the walk away and what that looks like.
Okay. Well,
and that should be a beautiful, and it should be a beautiful thing, because it doesn't service ego, it doesn't service this, doesn't service that. It just services love.
Right.
But when you walk away from that which you believe you're doing, remember you're still walking to something. It's like prayers. You're never done.
Yeah.
So I just say, whatever age you are, because you feel like you're 40, I'm 50. Well, nobody really wants to see me. Listen.
Don't matter.
People don't see artists. People don't fall in love because the actor was so great. I believe people really get to see spirits. They can gravitate towards you or not gravitate towards you. So I think your spiritual growth allows your overall growth in life, so you can have some balance, and not to say too much of this and not to say too much of that.
Right.
You just know when things gets really balanced, it's out of balance, because that's the work. Right when everything's right, and that's the work. So we keep continuing the work, and we have to continue with our prayers, because we're never done praying.
Right.
And just because you're praying for yourself don't mean you shouldn't be praying for
somebody else.
Yeah.
Malik, I love you, man. Thank you. I appreciate this.
Yes, indeed.
It's an honor.
Come on.
And, we're going to keep it going, brother.
And that's what's called a full house. Squads.
So, Malik, talk about, your love and passion for the arts. Did it change your relationship with some of your friends that were growing up? Some of, the people that might not have been, trying to see you change? Yeah,
it was tough. It was tough because as the more I was getting immersed in the love of arts, my community was still, there was a lot of people, there's a lot of people getting laid down every day, right? And so some of the cats that I came up with, I remember having to go back to the block one day, and this one, but I won't say his name, but he said, "Oh, there goes such and such, the pretty nigga, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Huh? So what's that about?" I said, "I've been knowing you forever. Yo, now you like 18 and stuff like that. Like you was 12 and now you're talking crazy." And he was like, "Yo, you heard what I said, or what you gonna do about it? You throw those hands or what?" And I'm like, "Yo, I don't even know how we got here. Why would I fight you? I've known you. You're like my little brother." Now he's swole up. He's he done been working out.
So he was older than you at the time.
He was younger than me.
Oh, he's young, but he's still like your little brother.
but
he was still like the little man.
He was still older,
but
was grown.
He's still a little man.
But he was grown,
and
then he was. He's cut up, deezed up, but he was also hustling. So he the new wave.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm the old wave.
Right.
He the new wave, and he running things.
Okay.
But I'm like, this is not necessary. Like, I just came through. I'm saying what's up.
Hating for no reason.
Yeah. And so he was like, "So what you gonna do about it? You throw those hands?" I said, "I guess we got to." So I had to throw my hands with him and whatnot, and then it was all good. It was respect. Like, all right, you got it. I didn't realize you was nice like that, right?
Yeah.
And then I had one other instant, which stood out to me when we talk about that how people receive you differently over what you try to stay the course of doing.
Yeah.
Was
because you always get resistant.
When
you're trying to go in the right direction.
But then I also had to learn. I had to learn that I'm not supposed to be everywhere.
Right.
And some places I shouldn't stay away from.
Yeah.
And it's not because I can't go. It's because safety is more important than the perception or persona of a character, right? And so when I was doing One Life to Live, unfortunately, I remember I was out with some buddies and I felt bad because I didn't really want to go out. That was another thing, not listening to my inner self. Really didn't want to go out. And they were like, man, we don't see you all the time. You're always doing that show. Like, come on, man, why you know, don't front on me. Don't front on me, right?
Yeah.
I said, all right. So went out with them, hung out, seen Heavy D. He's up in Mount Vernon with good friends.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, his brother. Then we at Big Mike, everybody. So I'm like, all right, we're going to grab some food. So we go grab some food at this diner on 49th Street. 3rd Ave in the Bronx, and people can't get in the diner. It's so crowded. People don't have clubs, this, that.
Late at night.
It's late at night, so it's like 3-something in the morning or whatever, right? 3, 4. And so I remember trying to get through with some of my guys. Now, a few of my buddies they were old school prison big.
Yeah, you know,
they came home. They came home.
Right.
They came home from 15,
right.
20 years, right? So that's why I felt like I needed to rock with them. I haven't seen each other, blah, blah, blah. So we cut through the group, and all I can hear is, that's that nigga, da-da-da-da. And that's the one from Dr. Ben Price on the show. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, oh my God. And so, you know, for the girls, they were like, oh my God, that's you. It's, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And then all I could hear was, fuck that nigga. Right? And I was like,
hey.
No, so, but it was real. But it was also like, it wasn't about just the hate. It was also about my karma, right? Because I had as a young man, what you think you get away with younger,
come back.
You don't know when you're gonna pay for it. And so I remember trying to run, you know, get out the crowd, and a dude just try to run through my chest. It's like, yo, what's up? What's good? I go, hey, you got it. It's cool. It's no problems. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I know it's no problems. This, that, and the other. And the minute I turned to, you know, walk, he tried to hit me from the back, and my boy caught his arm, and I was like, oh man.
Like
so
that.
Now all of a sudden we're in the thick of a fight. So while we're in the thick of this fight, I get cut. They hold me down, I'm sliced up, I get stabbed in the leg, all kinds of stuff. And
with the razor?
The razor, box cutter. Man. So cats were like, man, try and hold them down. I didn't realize they were like 30 deep.
Yeah.
You know, won't mention any names who were out there. And so literally was like, yo, because I had a big winter coat, big old, you know, 20 below coat on. And we're like, hold him down, pull his arm down. And so
they were trying to
so they were trying to cut my face.
Wow.
You know, and so I had big knot and everything, and so that was the side that made me uncomfortable with losing your anonymity. You know, in the early 90s when that happened. And I was so thankful, you know, the producers at One Life to Live, they paid for the surgery because it was like I had this like huge hematose knot.
This was during the time that you were on
One Life to Live.
One Life to Live.
Yeah.
And you got into it and somebody sliced your face.
Yeah.
Hating.
Yeah, but you know what? Even when I was at the hospital, I was just like, you know, you learn that you it's part of karma, you know what I'm saying? And so, and also discernment that I'm not supposed to be everywhere. And then there's some places that are not going to be safe. And then I had to evolve as a man from that to realize that some people really will, like, they see a lot of light. And they get uncomfortable around a lot of light.
Yeah.
And so in those circumstances where I couldn't see it before as a young person, or I see my guys shining or whatever, or they got too much jewelry on or whatever it is, somebody else is like, they get attracted to it, and then they like, I want to snuff that light out.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn and temper myself that, listen, I'm not supposed to be everywhere, and where I can be, but I can be of service in a positive way. That's my thing, you know. And I think the lumps and the bumps and the bruises, they come with the game, no matter what it is. You know what I'm saying? And as nice as I was with my hands, I've taken some L's.
Some L's, yeah. That's a fact. Yeah.
You know, and as I've gotten older, I realized, well, that evolution of my own human revolution is, well, what am I fighting for? And that's why peace is so important. You know, so it's like, you know, I'm like, you know, and I'll tell you this quick story. I was in South Africa, and I was with Mandela's best friend. He did 20 years on Robben's Island. And I remember wanting to record him. I said, do you mind if I record you? You think I can record you? He goes, no. You can never record me. Benjamin is his name, but I can't say his African name, Benjamin. And so, Benjamin, please, let me record you. Just to give me information, a time with you and Madiba, you know, such and such. So he goes, no. And I asked him for weeks, and I was there for about 3 months.
In South Africa?
In South Africa.
Working?
Just finding my life, finding my balance.
That's dope. I've been to Africa. I haven't been to South Africa. I've been to Ghana.
I was in Cape Town.
Dope. Okay.
Ended up hit Joburg too. But the story with Benjamin was so important because he goes, I'm afraid that if I let you interview me, that you're going to play with my words. And these kids are out here and they're dying for nothing. We were fighting apartheid for freedom. We had to move to the history of the shanty towns in order to have enough votes to overthrow apartheid. So, you know, perspective-wise, you all of a sudden, the axis turns into what is our purpose and why I try to live for peace and others and service, because there's so many people have come before us in so many circumstances that have really changed the dichotomy of us having even an opportunity in life.
Can we go back 1 second though? How did you meet Nelson Mandela?
Listen, I'm not gonna get deep in that story, but I will say thanks to a dear friend.
Nelson Mandela, okay.
Thanks to a dear friend. And my boy Kip Cato, my boy. And had tickets for at least 11 of us to go out to South Africa. And so what was interesting is that I was just finishing up a pilot, really, really excited. Hopefully it would go. Bank account on resuscitation. I hope the check be there. She said, listen, I got enough miles. You know, she worked doing some great stuff with Hugo Boss and some things. She says, I have so many miles. I'm gifting these flights
for you.
To friends. 11 people were supposed to go, only me and Kip went. And my kids kept telling me, just go, Dad, just go. Just go, Dad, just go. And so going on the plane, we met people from Mandela's camp. And we were the only few black people on this long flight.
Yeah.
It's 32 hours getting to South Africa.
They took you in.
And the funniest thing they said to me was like, now you'll get to drink from the mother's milk of Africa. And so
did that experience change your life?
That experience did change my life. You know, it changed my life in a way that I was going through a tough transition in a divorce early on, and to go there, I never understood the roots, this old classic Roots, very, you know, proud of our heritage movie in depth. Understood the movie, understood the stories, the chicken drawers, the not running away. I understood all of it, but I understood it on another plane, on another level once I got there, and the sand didn't stick to my feet. It was just dust. And then all of a sudden I realized, because we were at Cape Point, for the first time in my life, I felt like I could reach the stars. They look like they're on the second floor, third floor. They're reachable. We're growing up in the Bronx. Everything looks so distant, out of shape, so out of whack, right? We got city lights too. And so going through that experience and going through meeting people in Gukuletu and Mitchell's Plain and everywhere else. Matter of fact, it was funny. I'm walking down the street, hanging out with me and Kip Cato. We bump into my boy Mike K. Williams. I'm like, what you doing here?
In Africa,
In South Africa. And I believe at around that same time, I think Boris Kojo might have been there too. I'm like,
I went with them to Ghana. They have a yearly thing that they go to Ghana and have.
Yeah, I've never been. It's just phenomenal.
It changed my life, man. You know, being around us, nothing but us. You
Just
know,
appreciative, you know, because I realized that I have there's so much more learning that I need to do, so much more experience that me personally, I look forward to that evolution. I'm open to that, you know, growth, because going there, you know, to realize that one person is also, you know, he works at the store, but he's also has his own plane. He's not just the pilot, but he's also the basketball teacher at high school. So it's like, how are you kind of balancing that? You know, and I found that to be pretty relevant, and we'll talk about it another time. Like when I went to Cuba and I spent time in Cuba.
oh, you've well traveled as well.
So yeah, I've traveled some places. You know, I never post. You know, I'm like the private guy. You know what I mean, in that aspect. But I met so many people along the way that became really great friends and dear friends, and I just honor them. I honor them by also keeping their life private, you know, because they're just so dear and wonderful, and I appreciate the time and the love that they've given me, you know. So my time over there is just beautiful. I think I could live in South Africa a certain time of the year.
Okay.
Like I always say that.
And
People ask me
you
that.
said 3 months?
Yes.
That's a long time. You really got to, you know, embrace the culture.
What I loved about it too, even, you know, because if anyone goes, right, you want to definitely, you know, there's certain tourist things you can do. You can go to Table Mountain, right? It's called Table Mountain because the cloud actually drapes the mountain. And so you can take a trolley up there. It takes a little 20, 25, 30 minutes to go up there. Maybe you can have a glass of champagne, but what's so remarkable about being up there is you can watch the sunset and the moonrise at the same time. So spiritually, I was just feeling so much more anchored, and it was what I needed in my life. You know, I think we all need a reset, and I think that it's indicative of the business. I pray that everyone gets a reset, but also, you know, Tyler is giving me nothing but an opportunity, if you think about it, to reinvent myself. Right? Because people say, I see you as this, or I see you as that. And then people go, oh my God, you know, this guy's heavy, you know, and he needed to be exactly what that needed to be. And he's not a character that I glorify at all.
Jules, you talking about?
Jules, yeah. But he's a character that I think is also a good roadmap of what not to do.
Okay. How'd you tap into? You tapped into his character from. I mean,
I tapped into so many aspects.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, so many aspects. You know, because I think you can look at him. If you look at him,
do you stay in the character, or is it right after you're done? Are you back to Malik? Do you stay in that character for a while? Does it manifest in your?
I don't stay in that character, but remnants of any character will pop up. You know, because not only am I'm thinking in my sleep. You know, I'm wanting to evolve certain pieces, so it's very important for me to release. You know, as a kid and as an artist, some people are taught that you've been bringing in so much, but you don't know how to send it away. You want to go out in the world, you're just not understanding you also need to clean yourself from being out in the world. And so he's a character that I have to always constantly clean up from, because there's different levels of his darkness, but I also love the character because there's also different levels of, you know, what triggers him. He becomes a voice, you know, in a different aspect. He becomes a political voice. He becomes a advocate for the person who doesn't get to speak or suffers in silence. So there's all these different other nuances that I love about the role, and the juxtaposition, right, for all the characters, because, you know, the truth of the matter is everybody's hands are dirty.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
You know, but Tyler's done it in such a beautiful way that you know, what does it look like to live this over the top life and right, picturesque and beauty and blah blah blah, and you know, you're right, it's like the industry, sex, money, drugs, this, that, and the other, fast cars. But what does it look like when you get really close to it? And then you start to see where the cracks and the peels and the uncomfortable and the ugliness and the, you know, the bad deeds. And that's what I like about all of the performers, all of the women have just been phenomenal. All the guys, I mean, the entire cast.
Did you have to audition, or had Tyler Perry already been a fan of yours? Did he know your work? Did you guys get close?
So me and Tyler are good friends, you know, and I feel like I always know him well in shorthand, especially when working, because he's got to keep it moving. And as long as any one of the actors will come work with him, just trying to be as accountable for your work as possible. Also be open to pivot, because you just never know what's going to happen, and
creative minds
and you
start
can't,
going.
Yeah, you don't want to stand still when you can get something accomplished. Working with him the first time with If Loving You Is Wrong was phenomenal, but it was also like a burnout for me, because no, it wasn't because he was so fast. It was because I like it. I like what he does, and so. The minute you're done, then I want more of it. And then I'm like,
really?
Yeah, I want more of it.
Because you're in it.
Because he sharpens anyone around him. He really just does. So I had to, yeah. And then I go somewhere else and work somewhere else, and they go, hey Malik, it's gonna be a very busy day, and get these 6 pages, and I'm like,
it ain't busy like.
And I'm like, okay, right? So. I also have to appreciate. I have to appreciate every aspect of the world. So when he called me, he gave me a call. I was so thankful for him calling, and he said, "I'm thinking about doing something, and I think you're gonna be great for it." He said, "But you just know, if you want to take this ride, it's gonna be dark. It's gonna be really dark."
He told you that.
So I said, "Okay." And so we were in between that process and waiting, and I was waiting for him to figure things out. And while I'm waiting,
actually, I've gotten a phone call from Tyler Perry, so I do know how it feels. But how did it feel for you to get that call from Tyler? You know, like, explain that to, you know, did you audition and then he called you, or did he guys?
No, I didn't audition at all. No,
you didn't audition. He just got your number from your agent.
Yeah,
and said,
he called me. I mean, I talked to a few people.
Okay,
I'm still great at the stage, and he was like, "Hey, Tyler wants to call you." I'm like, "All right." I mean, he has my number.
Right.
Like, he's like, "No, he's calling." Okay.
So you get that phone call. He said, "We going to a dark place." So, like, what? You know, how you feel about that? Like, you know, what's?
Well, you know, I'm like,
you're a gamer. You're ready.
Like,
you're ready for
you
this.
know, for me, I think going to a dark place with most people, you know, are like, oh my God, this could be so offsetting. I've already lived the darkest life that I could ever live as a child. So I know what killers look like. I know what murderers look like. I know what it looks like when the shotgun's in front of my face. So having all of that, you know what I'm saying, is a natural, organic reference. You know. However, I live in the light. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't understand. Like, when I talk to my young people, I'm like, please don't go out there doing crimes. Please don't be doing. You
glorifying it.
No, you don't get away with none of it. I said, and it's not worth it. None of it. Don't take the shortcut. You don't realize it's like self-inflicting wounds, right? But back to the point with Tyler calling, super honored, super grateful, super thankful that he would think of me, and I just wanted to be, you know, up for the challenge. You know, I know I'm gonna give everything that I could possibly give, you know, and be as honest and truthful to every moment that I could be truthful to. And so that was so interesting, because, you know, it's like, I don't know.
So it's high
like
for
a
you,
season. Though. It's not a high.
Because when you said when you were done, you know, filming, that you still wanted more.
Well,
right?
This was different, right?
Okay.
2 different experiences.
Okay.
I wanted more when I was doing Lucian.
Okay.
I didn't want more doing Jules, because the longer I stay under, You know, like in those places, it affects my body. You know, so you know, you hold on to anger.
Yeah.
You know, you can also become sick. You hang on that frustration. So I'm looking to unblock and let those things go. Be as present as I can in the reality of the circumstances, but also know that I want to also live my life in a higher frequency.
Okay. Yeah. So some of these actors can take on those dark, you know, roles and actually live those out.
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, you become a culmination of so many different experiences that it's an evolution that you have to know. I try and move with purpose. You know, and not just be moving not mindfully, you know, and so it's a heck of a role. It's, you know, I look at it as my role is to, one, I mean, I can't get canceled for doing this role. And so at the end of the day, I use them as therapy. Like most of my acting for me is also my therapy. Where this character doesn't live in the world, this character is gone, right? But in all of these other different roles, I find a lot where I can also find therapy. Where's the voice that never, right? Why is this individual like this? Who hurt him so bad? And when did he choose to never go back? Or when did he choose to take his job past the point because people stood around him and said, oh, guess what? Something's changed. Oh, well. And left him on an island. So I find it's indicative of me finding myself, like as a young kid, saying, I will have to show up for myself and not allow anybody to abandon me in a way that I feel like I have to be accountable for my words. So I find, you know, I have to find a correlation from myself to him, but also understand there's healthy, there's over healthy, but you know, I look at all the characters, they're on steroids, you know, you know, and what's beautiful about what Tyler's done is that he's also, he's done it on a magnificent scale, because anything you think is in the background, all of a sudden comes right front and center. And what you may be thinking is not important. You just never know with the juxtaposition how it changes, and I love that. I love that.
So does he challenge you? Does he, you know, how does he bring the best out of you?
I think he brings the best out in everyone. You know, because
that's the talent. So, you know, that's a talent.
Well, you got to think about it. I mean, I don't think he doesn't get revered as being considered a great actor, yes. And he is.
And he knows everything, in and out.
Yes, he is. Because he's able to commit to these characters, go from here, go to there. First of all, you can't even understand and don't want to take on the levels of responsibility. Like me being a dad is responsible is a lot. I don't want to, you know, I'm a lifer dad, right? Yeah. But he's a lifer dad to hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
And their families, and he's a source of help, a source of support. If you're in the room, he's present with you.
Yes.
What you doing over there? What's going on? He's present. Balancing all of that out, also finding the levity and the humor.
Yes.
And then also tightening up characters here. Up, Malik, make sure you. Here, don't miss right here. Okay, you know, so he's in his master season of, and I just say all across the board, you know. So I honor him. I'm grateful for him. I'm thankful for the opportunity, because, you know, like when you say any character, we can be seen as a particular person and we can get boxed in. Oh, I see you as the guy, but you know, the truth of the matter is,
you've done everything.
Before, when I could first start, it was only, all they could say was, okay, you're the mugger, you're mugger one. And I was like, and you know, you get frustrated as an actor, you hear that conversation like, oh, I gotta be the guy stealing, I gotta be the guy robbing. I was like, well, I'm gonna be mugger 1, mugger 2, mugger 3, mugger, and every time I'm finding a different way to be a different little mugger.
Yeah, different mugger.
Right? And if I get the opportunity to be a police officer, then every way I want to find a different way to allow his light to shine differently and allow him to be organic and not just a reflex of cheating the process, because when I cheat the process, everything goes out to wash and I end up cheating myself.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, man.
Yeah, so I'm thankful that Tyler called. Only when Tyler called, the minute Tyler called, AMC and a few people called and said, hey, we have this show for you. And I was like,
of course, right?
Of course you have the show. And I said, I'm holding.
Yeah.
And I was so grateful to hold.
Yeah.
So grateful to wait.
Yeah.
And
I got the opportunity to work with him on a show called House of Pain.
Yeah.
Alan
P, AP.
He brought me. He called Tyler, and I used to cut his hair. And rest in peace, Mike Law.
Yes, Mike Law, my brother.
That was my brother. You know what I'm saying? So
yes.
Tyler called me much like he called you. Hey D, I'm like, Tyler Perry, what's going on, man? I'd like you to come out there.
He's magical like that, isn't he?
Cool. Went out to Atlanta, worked on that show. They put me up. We had a great.
Another moment I was really thankful for Tyler. We were working on If Loving You Is Wrong at the time, and my dad was very sick. And so we were off for this 4th of July weekend, and I went back and saw my dad, and I had to be back for work on that Monday. And I remember looking at my dad, and I shaved him, brushed his teeth. He was in the bed for a little while, so I picked him up and put him in the chair. And me and my dad, we always have these conversations without words. We just look in each other's eyes. And it was so tough to leave him. And I looked at him and I was like, I gotta go back to work, Dad. And he gave me the okay. He was like, boom. And when I was working, filming, my wife called me. And she was like, I'm at the doctor's office. They're about to let us know if we're having a boy or girl. I said, cool. And she said, hold on. Your sister's calling on the other line. My family didn't want to call because they knew I was working. And so she tapped my sister in the line, and she was like, Daddy's gone. And while she said, Daddy's gone, the doctor said, you're having a boy.
Wow.
So I'm raising my dad.
Wow.
And I know it. Wow. And so I'm so thankful for Tyler, because he came to me.
Damn.
He said, you good? I said, I just want to work. He said, no, go home.
Damn.
I said, I got no one to go home to. I need to work. So, I'm forever thankful to Tyler beyond this work.
Yeah, facts.
And that's why he's the greatest.
That's real.
Yep.
Damn. Man, you got me tearing up over here, man. That's real, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know the pedigree. You know the pedigree.